This may be a room that hardly any people are familiar with. We're back in the sacristy of St. John in Freiburg and kind of getting vested for Mass. And as I was first ordained a priest, one of the things I realized really early on is that we get offered, or we get given, or people entrust to us so many of their prayers, so many of their needs, so many of their burdens, their sufferings, whatever it may be, whether it's maybe the loss, the miscarriage of a child, or maybe a spouse is sick, or maybe somebody's struggling with a job, or maybe just things aren't going well, or somebody's beating themselves up because of the sin they keep committing. And so we get a lot of people's crosses, a lot of people's burdens. And I don't say that to say stop it. I say that actually to say it's beautiful, and it's one of the great things about being a priest. But one of the things I just had to kind of, I was thinking about and praying about is, what do you do with all of these, right? What do you do? And of course, you try to pray about them, and you try to remember them, to say, Lord, help these people, or whatever, thy will be done, whatever it is. But I was just kind of really wrestling with this. What do I do with all the crosses, all of the burdens that people offer me? And there's one tradition in when priests vest for Mass. And so I've got the alb on, got a cincture on, and I've got the stole. There's an amice on here too. But one of the things that sometimes happen, and probably a little bit more in the past, and there's probably a couple different meanings, is for a priest, when they put on their stole, is to cross it in front of them. And I started to do that just so that every time I would get vested for Mass, I would remember all the crosses that people give me, whatever it may be, that people offer so many, even to the point of I don't actually remember them all. To say, all right, Lord, these are the crosses that people have entrusted to me, and I'm going to take them with me to the altar. I'm going to take them with me to Mass and just simply offer them up to you. Because that's where our Lord draws suffering to himself. On the cross, which is present to us every time we celebrate Mass, the Lord draws near to suffering. And that's actually his answer to how he consoles us. God doesn't console us by being a magician and walking around and fixing everything, but he actually consoles us by coming close, by in the cross being near us and actually giving meaning to our suffering, actually showing that our sufferings aren't just in vain, but his own Son suffered and died for us so that he could draw suffering to himself. Sometimes people comment that they notice that I smile a lot during Mass. And as I kind of reflect as to why I do that, most of the times it's for this kind of reason. And whenever it kind of hits me in a deep way, that suffering has meaning. Whether it's my own, whether it's other people's, that Jesus Christ actually draws pain to himself and he actually gives it meaning. Like, this is a definitive answer of God to our lives, that all the pain, all the struggles, all the heartaches that we experience aren't just useless, aren't just pointless, aren't a sign of punishment, but actually it's a sign that God is close. And that brings joy. That brings joy to know that we're close to God and that all of those difficulties are answered in the cross, are answered as he draws it to himself. And that's what brings joy to me so often during Mass. It's because these crosses that people entrust to me find an answer. Maybe it's not the answer of how they're going to be fixed or how they're going to be solved, but it's the answer that Christ is close. He's close to my pain, my own trials, my own sorrows, and he's close to all of yours. And at Mass, we can offer those to them. And we know that he's close because that's the sacrifice right there on Calvary. When we're at the altar, we're at Calvary yet again. It's why the altar is elevated up for many reasons. One, you can just see it better, but also it's this sign of climbing the mountain of Calvary to where Christ is offered. And so as you come to Mass, you bring him all those pains, but you also bring him all the pains that everybody's entrusted to you. In a special way, I get to do that as a priest. But for each and every one of us, we're called to offer all of our struggles and then to realize the joy that Jesus answers those at Mass, that Jesus gives his definitive response to all pain, all suffering from his cross, which is presented to us each and every time we get to come to Mass. Take care, and we've got one more Year of the Eucharist video about the sacrifice of the Mass coming your way. So may God bless you during this week, and we'll see you soon.